for the folks who are here, and this is being recorded for anyone who will watch. We've noticed that since we launched our YouTube page a couple months ago, we've gotten quite a few views on these type of webinars. So the good news is, folks can watch this later. And for those who are here now, we're very grateful that you've decided to spend some of your Friday morning with us. I'd like to introduce. Well, I'll introduce myself, and then I'll introduce our main guest today, our main person here today, presenter. I'm Will Young. I'm the owner and CEO of Airwave Technologies. Those of you who have watched these webinars before have seen me more often than you'd probably like to. And I am going to be the passenger on today's webinar, and the driver is Fernando Granadino, who's our Director of Security Solutions. So Fernando, if you could give like a 10-second introduction on yourself, if you're capable of doing that, and then we'll dive in.
Sure. Thanks for the intro, Will. Like Will said, my name is Fernando Granadino. I'm Director of Security Solutions here at Airwave. I've been in industry for about 10 years now, coming from the Motorola Avigilon side and now on the partner distribution side. So hopefully you guys will learn a lot today and help you, steer the ship in the right direction.
Perfect. Well, and today's topic is cloud versus on-premise surveillance systems. For Airwave, this fits in. We provide several different safety technology solutions: two-way radio, public safety radio, bidirectional amplifiers, and emergency responder radio coverage, BDA DAS systems, cell BDA DAS. But a big growing part of our business is the surveillance and access control. Most of that's done for us via Avigilon. And a big question we get asked a lot, and that we're starting to see even more, is the differences, the pros and cons of cloud surveillance versus on-premise surveillance systems. And we've asked Fernando to talk about this because he's the expert, and he's got a lot of background in this. And so and as you, as the potential end user, are thinking through this, we thought this might be a valuable thing for folks to hear how you make those decisions. So Fernando, if you can go ahead and the floor is yours. Take over.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, perfect. So I think we should start by defining what cloud surveillance system is and what an on-premise surveillance system is, because there seems to be like a confusion out there. Mostly, a cloud surveillance system is a system where you store and manage everything through the cloud, right? And everything is accessible through the internet. You have your cameras connected, and installed on site, but your access and your storage, everything is remote, right? On-prem is the total opposite. Your recording, your storage, and everything is managed locally, right? So through a server, and then VR, a workstation, depending on the size of the whole site, right? The camera counts. And the key differences lie obviously in infrastructure, like I mentioned earlier, maintenance, scalability, and how you access said footage, right? Whether on-prem, to the server, or on the cloud, right? And understanding the difference between these is very, very important, because not like each solution is unique to each client, right? So not every situation fits every single solution, and not all cloud clients are the same. Not all premise clients are the same. So it's very important to know the differences and understand where each solution fits best.
Awesome. So one question I think that people have, certainly I've had, is, cloud. If I have a cloud system, obviously I can see that on my phone or on a remote device or whatever. On premise, do I have to be on premise to view the footage? Do I have to log in remotely through a team viewer type of thing, or is this something that I can actually access, on-premise remotely through a cloud-like interface?
That's a great question. So you can access on-prem systems, say through the mobile app, especially if we're going to talk about the Avigilon solution specifically. You can have the footage stored locally on a server, but you can access that footage through a server out off-site or the mobile app. So think of it like a hybrid type of system, right? Even though everything is stored securely on site, you can access it remotely. So it doesn't have to be, black or white. There could be some sort of a gray area, right? A hybrid, if you may.
So you're saying in plain English that I can look at an on-premise from my phone through an app,
Yes,
just like I could a cloud. So that's not really a
correct.
part of the decision-making process to think about.
Not
It's
at
just
all.
where the
It
data.
should it shouldn't be a
It's
deterrent, correct?
it's where the cloud is where the data is stored on-premise versus on-premise is where the server is. In very
Correct.
layman's terms. Cool.
Correct.
Thanks,
Where it's
Fernando.
stored and when it's managed. Yes.
Perfect. All right.
Awesome. So going specifically into cloud surveillance systems, you have remote accessibility. Well, this also is a small feature on the on-prem Avigilon solution. So it allows access to live and recorded footage from anywhere with a good internet connection, right? This is a very, very important thing, the internet connection. That basically makes or break your cloud security system, right? Scalable storage, it's pretty easy to go from 30, 60, 90 days and so on. Um, to scale, the amount of days you want to keep the footage for. Reduce maintenance, because everything is cloud. You can deploy and you can release or any updates just by a simple click. So it's pretty easy. So your IT overhead is very small compared to an on-prem solution. Everything updates, upgrades, everything's automatic. The deployment is pretty flexible. You don't need complex on-site infrastructure whatsoever. You go in, you plug the cameras to a switch. The switch is connected obviously to your network, and that is it. Everything is done afterwards. And especially the Avigilon solution is pretty straightforward, pretty easy to set up. And it is subscription-based pricing, right? So it allows for this like predictable cost, like OpEx. You can kind of get ahead of it and know how much it's going to be for year one, year two, year three going forward by going on the cloud model. As long as you know how many cameras you're going to have, how many days of footage you want to keep, then you can pretty much predict, right, what your expense is going to be. On the on-prem side, everything, like I said, is on site. So on-site control, on-site management, everything is stored in-house. You own the server, and you're not reliant on internet. So if your internet goes down, your camera system will still be working, right? Maybe you might not be able to access it at that specific time, especially if you're remote, but the camera system does not stop working, right? So this is a huge plus in that regard. Robust security and compliance, because it is on site and you can pretty much isolate it and not have any external factors in and out. Your security is a lot more tight, when it comes to the on-prem solution. So being compliant is a lot easier as well. Cloud is secured as well, but obviously on-prem takes it to a different level, right? Customization and flexibility. When it comes to the configuration of analytics, configuration of users, configuration of alarms and rules, on-prem tends to be more of a robust solution, right? So it allows for a plethora of customizations and options and settings that the cloud option doesn't necessarily have. So think of it as cloud as a light version of the on-prem, right? Lower ongoing costs, because everything is on-prem is not a subscription based, right? Your recurring costs are significantly reduced. If you go on the Avigilon side specifically, there are no recurring fees or no recurring maintenance costs, subscriptions, or anything on the Avigilon solution. It's a one-time perpetual license per camera channel, irrelevant of the amount of storage, right? And then the on-prem solution obviously has needs higher IT resources, right? And it's limited on the hardware. So if you have a server that holds 20 cameras, those 20 cameras will record for 30, 60 days. If you add more cameras, obviously the storage or the amount of days that cameras kept, the footage is kept, it gets reduced, right? So if you want to get more storage, you have to invest in a new server or play around with the settings inside to adjust to the exact days of footage that you want to keep.
Awesome. Thanks, Fernando.
Perfect. So when it comes to ideal scenarios and the type of clients, that we want to, that usually, connect themselves to each one of these options. Um, Camera counts. Okay, cloud allows you for, a decent number of camera counts, but less. Like you cannot have a 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 operation all going to a central operating center with cloud. You know, it's just too taxing on your network to be able to do it efficiently, right? So you are somewhat limited on the camera counts or the size of your sites versus on-prem, which is the green bar. You pretty much have no limitations, right? When you depend on internet, cloud is 100% internet dependent. So if you don't have a stable internet connection, your internet goes in and out, it's slow, the speed, you don't have necessarily a 10 gig network, but you have a 1 gig on copper, maybe consider, the on-prem solution a little bit better, right? When it comes to IT overhead, obviously cloud, like I mentioned earlier, scenarios where there isn't much IT personnel, cloud is ideal. On-prem, requires a little bit more personnel. Retention needs, even though you can go the same on both, I have the on-prem solutions scored higher in these scenarios because there is literally no limitation. There reaches a point on the cloud that the recurring costs of adding that subscription for each camera for more days exceeds the price of the server, right? So in that case, on-prem wins in a way. Ease of collaboration, cloud is a lot easier to share footage or clips on. You don't necessarily have to install the player or the software, the client, or anything on anyone's computer or phone. Cloud enables you to send a simple link to anyone, anywhere, and they can view whatever you want them to view, right? Security and compliance, on-prem obviously beats cloud. I don't have to get into details. If you have anything in-house without exterior or internal factors, obviously a lot more secure. And OpEx predictability. If you have a scenario or you are a type of client that you need to know how much you're going to invest, year one, year two, year three, then definitely cloud is a easier option for you than the on-prem. Prices of servers obviously change. There's different types of servers, they go end of life. So be able to predict how much that investment is going to be is a little bit tougher on the on-prem side.
Hey,
So
Fernando,
yeah.
quick question for you on that. So is there like again, trying to make this simple for somebody like me to understand, like, is there um, like a rule of thumb about if you're going to have like 50 cameras, that's kind of the break point to go
Mhm.
where cloud stops to make sense and on-premise starts to make more sense? Is it 20 cameras? Is it 100 cameras? Is there like a kind of a rule of thumb if you were to make this like dumb this slide down into like, hey, if I'm going to have X number of cameras, definitely cloud. If I'm going to have Y number of cameras, definitely on-prem. Or is there too much nuance required here to kind of understand that?
No, I think if you want to go by rule of thumb, to say 50 cameras is a safe bet.
Yeah,
So if you want to stay between 1 and 50, cloud would work great. If you want to
yeah.
go a little bit over 50 per site, obviously I would recommend on-prem. However, you can have multiple, let's say 3, 4, 5 sites with 50 cameras each or less linked together perfectly on cloud.
And you could have
But
a hybrid scenario where you have some stuff on cloud and some stuff on-prem. Like if I'm a school district and maybe my high school has 100 cameras, but my elementary schools have 20. How can you do a hybrid in that way?
yeah, you can definitely do a hybrid. Like I said, these solutions adapt to each client, so it's not a black or white. But yeah, you can have a hybrid solution. In fact, a lot of our clients do, especially the ones that are migrating from an on-prem solution to an on-cloud, because they like the features, like the ease of collaboration. They want to reduce IT overhead, whatever that may be. You can keep your existing servers. We say you can have the main storage on the cloud, but if it exceeds those 30 days you're paying for, you can offload anything and archive it to a server, right? So it becomes kind of a mix. But yes, you can definitely do both.
Awesome.
So So ideal clients, for example, for on cloud, you're talking about like multi-site retail are ideal for this. Private schools with smaller, medium to small camera counts or a small campus are great for this. Charter schools, satellite schools, let's see what else, like corporate office, real estate portfolios, that stuff like that. Cloud is ideal. On-prem, usually if you have a large school district with thousands of cameras, yeah, on-prem tends to be the better solution for you. Um, Again, private schools with large campuses, manufacturing plants, anything that will require a lot of cameras and will require a lot of compliance. On-prem would definitely be the better option. And if your thing is, oh, I want to be able to access it remotely, not a problem with the Avigilon on-prem solution.
Yeah. And then another question for you, Fernando, is, you know, my understanding is that Avigilon, like kind of the secret sauce of Avigilon, the reason people buy it is for the analytics and the AI and all that stuff. Is there like, can you get that with cloud and on-premise? Are you having to sacrifice for one or the other? Or kind of what's the catch there?
Yeah, great question. So, like I said earlier, like you can do pretty much almost everything on cloud. There are some slight limitations. For example, on the Avigilon side, if you want to get specific, their visual firearm detection is only available on the on-prem. Mostly because it requires a lot of processing, analytic processing. So if you run that through, the internet, you're not going to have necessarily the same results as if you do everything locally. And when it comes to something like firearm detection, you can't afford that glitch, right? All that internet dependency. But yeah, pretty much everything from appearance search, sort of different versions of facial recognition or facial matching, line crossing, unusual activity, all that is available both on cloud or on-prem. So you aren't really losing any capability by going one or the other.
Awesome. Thanks, Fernando.
Of course. So who wins? So when it comes to deployment speed, obviously cloud, and in this case, Avigilon Alta solution wins. It's just easier to deploy, easier to grow and scale. Multi-site standardization. If you need to deploy, if you need to launch one update across all sites, cloud makes it a lot easier than on-prem. On-prem is manual, right? Resilience to external factors, internet connection. On-prem beats on cloud any day of the week. Same on scaling of retention, security and compliance. Same thing. Cloud is pretty good, but again, keep everything local without any external factors. On-prem will beat it every single time. IT maintenance, cloud takes the win here. Predicting budget, again, cloud is best here. Leveraging existing tech. This is important because the majority of clients, you're not going to have one that says, "Oh, I want to rip and replace everything." There are very few and far between. In my 10 years, I've only run across 5 that have told me that. So the majority want to leverage their existing technology. Let's say if you like Avigilon and you want to go to a Avigilon solution, but you keep like iPro or you keep NVIDIA, you keep Pelco, you keep Axis. Going an on-prem solution allows you to integrate those existing manufacturers onto the Avigilon ecosystem a lot easier, because it is an on-prem solution with the server there. The processing is done on the server versus cloud. You could do it, but then you need a cloud connector and actual appliance. So then it kind of stops being 100% cloud, right? So on-prem is a lot better for leveraging your existing technology or using your existing camera counts. And then for collaboration, cloud is just easier. You don't need any software, apps. All you need to do is send a link. That's it. So who wins? We always tend to put, everything up against each other. We always want to know who wins versus the other. There is no clear winner. It all depends on everyone's priorities, right? If you prefer like isolation, strict compliance, long-term retention, performance and be able to customize it more, then on-prem definitely is a better option for you. If your priorities are more rapid deployment, something temporary, you don't have that much a big IT team, and ease of use and be able to predict how much the investment is going to be year after year, cloud is different for you, and maybe you are in a situation where both seem great, and that's perfectly fine. That's really the case in most. But again, here at Arrow, we can definitely help you, steer you in the right direction or be able to land on the best product for you. And maybe a hybrid is the option for you. Maybe that is the best alternative. But yeah, here we're Arrow will be happy to help you land on the best solution for you.
Awesome.
I want to show you a couple of the, I guess, in my opinion, the coolest features of each of the Avigilon Cloud versus on-prem. Like I said, you can keep most of the features the same with very few exceptions, but the software is slightly different. When it comes to Alta, which is Avigilon's cloud solution, Alta Aware, they have a really cool feature that I love, which is a mapping in heat map. So basically what it is that if you have a blueprint, with your camera locations and doors, you will be able to see people moving across the map. You can see it right there. The people in blue, they're moving. You can see that, right? You can hover over the cameras, same as on-prem. But this feature of seeing the people move across your map, that is exclusive to the Alta Aware software, the cloud software. Heat maps as well. Keep in mind, this is not heat based on temperature, but this is based on the areas where people gravitate towards or hover the most, right? So great for entrances, to see what exits and entrances people use the most, which areas of your facility are the most popular, where the people gather for the longest time. This is awesome for that. On the on-prem side, very similarly, think about it. If you have thousands of cameras, if you're an ISD with 3, 4, 5, 6, 10,000 cameras, a map like that makes it impossible to have one map covering everything. But the on-prem feature solution has something called focus of attention. So each camera is represented by one of these honeycombs or hexagons, right? So you can put them together based on location, cafe, elementary, etc. And as incidents happen, you know exactly where they are. In this case, we have a firearm detected alert. You can see the person, you can see the bouncy analytic around it, and then you can see it right there on flashing red to know exactly where there is. Same with license plate recognition. If you have a match of an unidentified license plate, that's where it would be. Facial recognition or facial matching, that's where it would land as well. So it gets a little bit more gradual than the on-cloud, but it's a great alternative if you have big camera counts, thousands of cameras, and it makes it impossible to, or makes it, if you have a challenge to identify where each camera is, this is definitely the best solution for you. And a great alternative to make detecting and being more proactive a lot better for you than just looking at a ginormous video wall with hundreds of cameras. So if you have any last minute questions, I'm happy to answer anything that comes up in the chat or the pre-submitted questions. Well,
Yeah. If anybody has any questions, feel free to drop them in now. I have one I wanted to ask you, Fernando. Can you so if you're gonna have if you're not sure what you want to do, and or maybe you want to migrate from on-premise to cloud or cloud on-premise over time, do you have to rip and replace your cameras to switch back and forth, or can the cameras do both? And so is that on in both? So I guess it's a two-part question. On the Avigilon camera side, do you need to pick if it's a cloud camera versus an on-premise camera? And then my second part of my question is, what about existing cameras from another manufacturer? Can you do it cloud versus on-premise and bring them in? Like, how does that work?
yeah, so I'll start with the second one first. If you have existing third-party manufacturer cameras, like I said, iPro, Access, NVIDIA, it's a lot easier to integrate them once you have an on-prem solution. because any of the processing, all the stuff is done on the server side, right? Everything's done local. And if you want to inject analytics specifically, like make them smarter, be able to do appearance search, facial rec, something that maybe the camera doesn't do on its own, if you put them on the Avigilon on-prem solution, the server side, you'll now be able to do all that on those third-party cameras. On cloud, can you bring third-party cameras in? Yes, you can. And you can do it with something called a cloud connector, which is a little appliance. But then again, you are then going towards a hybrid, more of a hybrid model, right? Existing
Is that
hardware.
is that with the analytics you need a hybrid model? I guess you're the cloud connector.
Yeah, so when you go cloud, it's always a case by case, yes, so you're supposed to add these analytics to your third-party cameras to the cloud connector, then go into the cloud. All the processing is done on the cloud and then sent back to the camera. So in theory, yes, you should be able to add at least the basic analytics, or like line crossing, loitering, unusual hours, unusual activity, unusual motion, all that stuff should be available now on your third-party cameras going to cloud. But you do need that, like I said, that physical appliance cloud connector to connect them, and then they'll go to the cloud. But you
Got
can
it.
leverage your existing tech on both options. On-prem being better for it.
Perfect. We got a question here from one of our guests. I'd like to know some information about how the radios connect to the system. What's the license cost with on-premise third-party cameras? So maybe I think that might be two different questions. I'd like to know some
Yeah.
information about how the radios connect to the Avigilon system. Maybe we take that one first, then we could take the license costs with on-premise third-party cameras.
Perfect. So Avigilon connects. Avigilon is part of Motorola Solutions, right? So if you have Motorola Solutions radios, your R7s, your Ion radios, you can connect them to the on-prem solution through a software called Orchestrate. So Orchestrate, what it'll do is all the alarms that you get on your cameras, again, any analytic alert, facial recognition alert, license plate, visual firearm detection, any alert will go. Obviously, you'll get the alerts on your software, but that'll also go to the mobile app. They'll go through your radios, and everything is done through Orchestrate. That integration with the radios is available on the on-prem side only as of right now on the Motorola Solutions side. I know they're working on extending it to cloud, but as of today, it's only available for on-prem.
And,
Then,
and and Fernando, just to fill out the thought, and I know who asked this question, is you do have the type of system, the way that y'all are set up at your school district, that this would be an easy integration into Orchestrate because of the type of system that y'all have. And so we're happy to talk to you offline about this. You guys have it's the easiest system from a radio side to connect in with the camera side, and so that'd be something that we can certainly help with. I think the second part of his question, Fernando, was what is the license cost with on-premise third-party cameras?
that's a good question. So there is no additional license cost if they're third party, right? Avigilon on-prem works on a per channel licensing. So whether you have an Avigilon camera today and then you replace it with an Access, same license. You don't need to buy an additional one, and the pricing for that channel is exactly the same, whether it's Avigilon, Access, iPro. So there's no additional, no recurring, whether it's third party or Avigilon cameras. It's the same thing. You can reuse that license with as many cameras as you want. Like I said, if the camera goes down, you want to replace it. And let's suppose you start with a single lens camera, let's say a dome or a bullet, and then you want to replace that camera with a multi-sensor, a 4-lens camera, you still only need one license. You need to buy 3 additional for those, regardless if it's a Avigilon camera or an iPro camera.
And Fernando, is that license something for the analytics? Is that a different license for analytics than for not, like, how does that work?
Good question. So Avigilon now recently launched a model where if you get their enterprise licensing, which is their top tier license, which here Arrow we include with really every one of our quotes because of what it allows our clients to do. You don't need to add an analytic license anymore. So it'll come with it already. So you'll be able to do all the analytics on that. In this case, your iPro camera, you will be able to do everything on that camera as you do on the Avigilon camera. As long as you have obviously the AI server, that does the processing, you'll be able to do the same analytics on the third-party camera than on the Avigilon camera.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I appreciate the questions there. Unless anybody has anything else, I know we're at 30 minutes. It's been I know it's a lot of time to think. Oh, here we go. We've got another question here. What does your camera's warranty look like?
Good question. Avigilon has a 5-year warranty, which is you can extend that warranty if you want. But yeah, it comes standard with a 5-year warranty.
And what does that cover, Fernando?
Actually, it's pretty no questions asked. There's something wrong with the camera. Let's say the camera goes down and you can't easily repair it. You just send it to us, or we'll send it to Avigilon, and they send a brand new one. Pretty much no questions asked. So they're great on their warranty. So pretty much it covers, obviously there's a use, the user like grab the bat and hit the camera. Obviously it's a different conversation, but everything from manufacturing faults, something that the camera goes down, let's say within the 5 years, if you have a 3-lens camera and one of the lenses goes down in 2 years, within 2 of the 5 years, Avigilon will send you a brand new replacement of the latest model. So if today you bought, let's say version 5 of a camera, and that camera goes down next year with a version 6, you will get the new version 6.
Right. How many cameras? Okay, another question here. How many cameras recommended per server with your system in a virtual environment?
That's a great question. So I'm assuming on-prem. There you go.
On-prem.
On-prem.
Yeah, there it is.
Yes. Okay. So how we do things, or how Avigilon works around this, is that it really depends on what you want, right? Well, we're limited on bandwidth, right? Not so much of storage. If you have, let's say, 200 cameras and you want 30 days, we design that server, we customize a server to give you 30 days on 200 cameras. You're not really limited to anything. As long as you know, okay, I'm going to have 200 cameras and I plan to grow, let's say 30% within the next 3 years, then we calculate that into the server. So you'll have that 30 more camera, 30% growth, and still keep those 30 days. So your limitation is bandwidth. Bandwidths are limited, servers are limited on bandwidth. The Avigilon NVRs, especially the AI NVRs, the analytic NVRs, have a very high bandwidth threshold. So you can add really a ton of cameras. And the great thing is that if you go with these servers, right, because you want to add these analytics, you can leverage your existing servers. You don't have to, again, buy brand new servers for every single thing. You can have one server that does the heavy processing, right, that injects the analytics. And that server may have, let's say, 30 days of storage. But if you require 60 or 90, we can use your existing servers that you have now as giant USB drives, as archive units. So after 30 days, all that footage will get sent to those servers, and then you meet your compliance requirements, of storage.
We've got another question. Is there a license fee per camera to add it into your software?
So there is a perpetual license cost or investment, but it's a one-time. Like I said, there's no recurring or costs. So if you have you want to add 3 Axis cameras, 3 NVIDIA camera, 3 Bosch cameras, you just need 3 channel licenses, and that's it. And they're yours. They're yours regardless of what you decide to do with them. So the same would be if you replace them with the Avigilon cameras, still 3. So they keep it kind of camera agnostic, right? I know there's certain models that do it differently, but Avigilon does it that way. It's one channel, one license per camera channel or camera drop. Think of it as an actual cable. It's one channel. These are great questions.
Yeah. Any other questions? Look, I know we've got some folks on the call that are asking questions. We'll reach out to you guys separately and set up a call to talk through any other ones if you want to. We are obviously happy to talk about this, but really appreciate the questions and thoughtfulness on this. And it's been a lot of fun. So thank you to everyone who's been here today, and for folks who are going to watch this as a recording. Welcome to the or welcome to the call here, and happy to have you. I do have one final question here, Fernando.
Yeah,
Actually, now that I'm
sure.
thinking about it, about the warranty. You said that it's a standard 5-year warranty. Can you extend that like up to
Yes.
say 10 years?
Mhm. You
Got
can
it.
extend
Okay.
that. All the Avigilon cameras have a standard 5-year warranty, specifically on-prem. Cloud, you have Alta offers a 10-year warranty if you have an active subscription. So by default, it's a standard 5-year warranty on all cameras. If you're on the cloud solution and you have a 10-year, say, plan that you're never tied to, of course, but if you have a 10-year subscription, then that warranty automatically extends to 5 years, to 10 years, sorry.
Awesome. Okay, that's helpful. I know some other cloud companies offer 10-year warranties as well.
Mhm.
So that's good to know that it's competitive with what Avigilon's
Yes,
offering. Uh, okay, well,
without
hey everyone.
tying you to a solution.
Yeah, exactly. And they're not
Correct.
proprietary. Yeah.
Any
So
third-party camera works, it's backwards compatible as long as the manufacturer is on with compliant with which the majority of manufacturers are. Then yeah, you're able to do that back and forth setup.
cool. All right. Well, thank you to everyone who attended today, and for the folks watching, like I said, on the later on the YouTube page. We will have another webinar probably in the next 3 weeks or so. Not sure exactly what the topic will be yet, but we'll get something on the calendar. And really appreciate all the thoughtful questions, and we will talk to you all soon. Thank you.
Thank you guys. Take care.